My name is Patrick and I am a European. And that is not changing at 11 o'clock tonight. And a little bit of rain isn't going to dampen our spirits either. I always was a European. I was born just a few months after this country entered the European institutions.
No, you only.
No, you're quite right. I don't look that old, but it's true. It's true. Thank you for pointing that out. I was born, and so was my party, in 1973. The Greens in this country were the first Green Party to form. And for Greens, we've always been part of that era of European political, social, democratic and economic cooperation. It's the political landscape that we know, that we feel part of. But even beyond those institutions, like the EU, which we're being dragged out of against our will, we are a European country from far, far longer ago than just the development of those EU institutions.
We are the Scottish!
And it's going to continue to be part of who we are. It's so natural for me as a Green to believe in that European cooperation. The European Union has been one of the world's most progressive voices on climate, and to take that away, to tear that apart, is appalling. It's been a place where strong social and environmental and workplace rights have been won, often against the voices from successive UK governments trying to water them down. And I believe that if Scotland was at that European table, we'd be a far more progressive and constructive voice than the UK has ever been. But I think the one thing, more than anything, that tears my heart out about this is the loss of freedom of movement. Because as we just heard a few moments ago, generation after generation, war after war, the young people of the countries of Europe were rounded up by their own governments, marched across the continent into fields and ditches to slaughter one another, not to serve the interests of their own communities, but to serve the interests of the governments who were supposed to be looking after them. And then after the Second World War, a change began, and we began to build institutions that created freedom of movement, that created a different future where the young people of the countries of Europe can choose for themselves whether they want to travel, to learn, to work, to study, to make a life. And it rips my heart out to see that being taken away from the next generation of our young people. And I think we should be determined that the young people who are growing up at the moment, the kids in schools, those amazingly inspirational climate strikers who are telling my generation what we should be getting right, we should be listening to them. By the time they're making their choices about where they want to work or study, we need to restore for them that freedom of movement. We need to find our path back into our European family. And for me, and I'm just guessing for quite a lot of you as well, that means Scotland's path back as an independent member of the European Union. On a night like this, when we know that people like Nigel Farage are popping the champagne corks, hope can be hard work. Hope can be hard work. This is a moment when many of us feel sad at what is being done to us, not by us, and angry at the people who brought this about. But we also need to find hope and determination, because I genuinely believe that our future, our better, more progressive European future as an independent member of the European family is within our grasp. Let's go out and win that. The Greens today relaunched our Green Yes campaign, joined by Star Keller, the co-leader of the Greens in the European Parliament, who made the journey to Glasgow to be with us for that. We have friends across the political spectrum in Europe who want us back. We want to rejoin. Let's go out and do it and win that campaign.